Seema Chatt is an author of 3 successful books. As a child, she appeared in London for a BBC programme, Let's Make a Story, along with her twin brother. Perhaps this was how the seeds of a boundless imagination were sown, which is reflected in her 2 children's books, The Bumblebees and Other Stories and The Chattering Forest. The Mouse and the Flying Lamborghini is her 4th book, where she illustrates the adventures of Boodle Boo-Cock, a handsome god-wit bird who owns a flying Lamborghini, and a perky mouse, Teeny Weeny, and their quest to save the world.
My favorite character in the book is Teeny Weeny because she wants to bring peace to the world, and so do I.
Well, first of all, I really like how the names are for child friendly.
Very funny sentences. For example, when in the Land of Kitties, when it was said that the kitties have paintball guns, and you don't always hear that in the book.
The best part about the whole book was probably the way that the author used different adjectives to describe the characters' feelings.
Seema, you're a writer now of 4 books. Can you talk a little bit about your journey as a writer?
Devika, my journey as a writer is a little bit like living a dream, a never-ending dream. It's ongoing, it never ends. It's almost like, I would say, like I'm jumping onto an imaginative train, which is flying through the sky. And the train stops at different stations and it collects ideas, beliefs, impressions, fantasies, imaginings. And these are wielded around a character, a main character who's the protagonist, and then you have the antagonist who's always trying to create strife for the main character. And then you have your ancillary characters, and these are all spun around events and situations. So I would say that it's never ending, it's always ongoing. So one chapter may lead to another, or one story would lead to another.
Seema and I recently spent some time in Myanmar, and she told me about some children's books that she's been publishing. And I told her, actually, I've got a son who loves reading. And in the past few weeks, she sent them to Matthew and I. And Matthew's really taken to them. And I myself have also.
So as you've been wielding these stories, you've produced 4 books that are very different from each other.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how they're different?
Let me tell you first about my first book, The Bumblebees and Other Stories. It was a lot during our generation, what we grew up reading. So I would say it is probably, tales from a bygone era. Also, at some level, I think it was children's stories for adults. And while I got decent reviews, I learned that, it was more contemporary to our time. And so my Chattering Forest, I made lighter. I made it more fun. There were brilliant illustrations, not brilliant, but very cute illustrations. And it was for younger children. It was an easier read. So I felt myself evolving in that sense.
Having moved to Singapore, she's spread her wings incredibly and started into her children's books, which bring so much pleasure to so many kids. They expand in language, they help them with vocabulary, and their imaginations just grow. So to my dear friend, I'm very proud of you with this new book, and I wish you nothing but blessings in the future.
These tongue twister names, how do you come up with them? Beetle the Ball is another name you have?
Yes, in the Chattering Forest. I don't know, I think my thoughts are like elves, and they kind of impishly, they play tricks on me. And they just kind of lurk in front of my eyeballs, and then they kind of, throw things at me, arrows at me, and they say, hey, you know what, I'm Teeny Weeny, or you know what, I'm Boodle. And I'm like saying, really? Okay, fine, I kind of like that name.
Seema is very passionate. She's very passionate about what she believes in. She's very passionate about what she knows. And she's actually well-read. The book that I read along with my kids was The Mouse and the Flying Lamborghini. And her passion translates into these books and the characters that she has created. The characters are fun, they're adventurous, and they also believe in changing the world, which in my conversations with Seema also comes across.
So tell me, what inspires you to write children's books? I mean, the obvious big children's writer now is J.K. Rowling. Has she played a part at all in inspiring you on this journey?
Devika, I have a friend in Delhi who calls me Seema Rowling, and I have to say I'm exceedingly flattered with that. I call myself, when I'm poking fun at myself, Seema Growling, and I'm waiting to drop the G,
A few days ago, she sent me a e-copy of her latest book, The Mouse and the Flying Lamborghini, which I'm reading right now. I'm still reading it. And I must say I'm really enjoying it. Maybe because the main character's name is similar to mine. That could be a reason. Also, I like the way she plays with words. She's introducing lots of different vocabulary to children, which I think is very important. These days, I think children the vocabulary tends to get limited. It's nice to see the words coming back into books.
The size of a hammer-headed bat? Asked Boodle, feigning surprise. Are you nuts? Dear bird, my brain may be fogged up in the smog, but I know the truth about the scar. Claptrap, hogwash, bunk him, said Boodle, shouting so loudly that Teeny Weeny almost jumped out of his skin. How does she know so much about me? He thought worriedly. Again, you are using those awful words, she said shakily, wondering why he angered so easily. She knew he was hiding something, but what? Has anyone told you that you can be awfully rude? Rude, said Boodle, astonished, for he was not impolite by nature. No, I have never been accused of that before.
Why? Why is he hiding the car? Asked Teeny Weeny, confused. In this little excerpt, I can see the character's emotions and feelings through all the adjectives that the author used in the story. Also, in this little excerpt, I really like how the author used different adjectives to describe the wind.
And can we expect another book from you, a fifth book?
Yes, I'm doing my fifth children's book, and it's called The Mealy-Mouthed Monsters, and it's about these monster twins and how they go into this horrible school which is headed by a principal called Sternbottom, and how they play havoc in her life.